Hello, and welcome to this sixth lecture of this module on parts identification and process design in this course on developing winning prototype. I am Arun Singhal, your management coach and mentor with 40 years of experience in people development. So, in this section, we've been sharing with you how to identify parts and design the process for a winning prototype development to help you build your business. And so far, we have looked at how do we evaluate the product, the designs that we have had, how do we finalize the product specification, and we are on the way to finalize the process. And in that, what we are seeing is in this lecture, we will study is how to develop those process requirements that can help us develop a process to produce these products repeatedly with the quality and cost and in time that we want to take. Right. So let's see how can we do this in this case. The process as you see on your screen is the QFD3 as we talked about in the last lecture, and we will see in this case how do we take this forward in the case of our water purifier. And there we will focus on the heart of the water purifier, the filtering element that has emerged as the top ranking product requirement. Other important parameters include proper selection of the plastic resins that will help make sturdy, well-fitting parts, a proper material selection for filtration membrane that's chemically inert and lasts without fouling. But for this QFD exercise, we'll basically focus on the filtering element, right? Okay. So let's see how do we do that. So we start with populating the product requirements as we had identified in the previous previous lectures, right? And we populate on the left-hand side of this house, in which we specify the product requirements in the left-hand corner, and the right-hand corner of that house, we put the importance rating. And importance rating we would have determined in the last part. Last QFD2, right? So we determine that as the first step. And then we when we sit in this cross-functional team and brainstorm and talk about what are the process requirements to deliver those product requirements. And here, since the CFT includes quality, technical, manufacturing, finance, etc., even customers and suppliers, we are able to understand using a Y is a FX approach, where Y output is the product requirement and F is the function that we don't know right now, but the X ones are the process requirements. So we determine all those process requirements in the top room of this house. Having done that, what we do is we now determine the weights of 139 minus 1 minus 39, minus being negatively correlated, 139 plus positively correlated as coming in, plus 1 plus 3 plus 9. And the way to assign would be to look at and say in each of these process requirements, so how many of the product requirements are common? How many of the product requirements require that process? And more they are, the larger could be your ratings in this case in terms of 1, 3, and 9. Having done this relationship weights in the CFT again, in the middle row, we now go to the comparative products that we have, we need to compare on these product requirements. How do the comparative products perform or are there on these product requirements? And we rate our key products on a scale of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next step is to go to the roof. Next journey is to go to the roof, where we look at what are the relationships between the various process requirements. As we saw, a tick is a positive correlation between two process requirements, and a cross is a negative correlation. And that's how we populate and establish the relationship between the process requirements. And the last step is to determine the importance rating. And we saw that the way to determine importance rating is to take one process requirement at a time, look at the relationship weight, multiply that for the importance of that product requirement, go to the next product requirement, take that multiplication factor and sum it up at the total importance rating as a sum of that. Then you go to the next process requirement and repeat the same process for each of the process requirement. at the end of this, the bottom, you will have the importance ratings. And the higher the score is, the higher score can be ranked as number one and next, at next, etc., etc., etc. Right? So you get an idea of how do we calculate the importance rating. So with that completed, we have now our process requirements identifier, as you see on your screen now on the right hand side. So which has the importance rating on the left hand side, and the right hand side are the process steps. And you see that the topmost ranking process requirements are proper granulation of the RHA and RHA binding with the polymer. And then there are other process requirements like silica, silver, mixing duration, etc., etc. So you get an idea in a rank order of importance what are the various process requirements that you can now take it forward. So what do we do in the next module, in the next lecture? So having known the process requirements now, we go and lay out the process. We develop the processes that can deliver these product requirements on the way to meeting the customer requirements and the CTQs that we started in the QFD1. So thank you so much for watching this lecture, the lecture 6, and I hope you continue to learn something new, you continue to enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next lecture.